And we are live for another awesome episode of the Art of Combat podcast. Awesome. What's going on? It's Art. I said awesome because it's going to be awesome. I can tell you right now it's going to be heated, and I'm okay with that. What's going on? It's Art. Mike Broadwell here with me, already chirping. We got Fish on the audio.
You started it.
Stick on the producing. If I could get my mic together. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm going to start off by saying I've never been more sore in my life, and that's because I bowled 3 games yesterday. What is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? My whole side of my body.
Many things other than bowling.
I know. I'm the palest person in the world. I mean, looking at this camera, I'm like 2 shades away from being powder, okay? Then I wake up this morning and I'm getting going. I'm feeling good. I took my gummy vitamins. I get into work and I get out of my car and I'm like, huh. And I'm like, did I sleep wrong?
Like gummy vitamins?
Yeah,
you can't take pills?
No, I take Meyer gummy vitamins every morning.
Every time. I think Art might be a grown-up, and then he comes with the gummy vitamins.
Listen, I like the way that they taste. They leave it like an irony taste after.
Yeah.
And
when did you switch from Flintstones?
Well, okay. Don't laugh, Stick, okay? Listen, they taste good. I could swallow pills. I just don't. I'd rather have gummies. Like, if someone was to tell you, hey, you have a choice to swallow this nasty vitamin pill that tastes like hay or have 2 gummies every morning, what would you do?
To me, swallowing a pill and taste don't even go together.
Okay, so when you put something in your mouth, you don't taste it? What is?
Not if it's a capsule.
This argument is dumb because you tell any grown adult if they would rather have children's gummies or a capsule, they're going to say children's gummies.
Okay.
Anyway,
help me out here.
I woke up this morning and I was.
You're fine. Let's talk about fighting.
I was so sore from bowling. That's what I'm trying. I'm trying to do it. Jeez. Anyway, we're gonna talk about real grown men fighting.
Eye pokes at the bowling match?
No, but I bowled a 134, and I had everyone in this damn office make fun of me for it. It's the highest bowling score I've ever had. I was like Pete Weber out there. Who do you think you are? I am. Who do you think you are? I am. Oh, I was pumped. I was so pumped. My son bowled a strike. I had to coach him through it. He almost fell into the lanes, almost hit the bowling pins. He was so far out on the lane, but it was a good time.
When you the 134, how many times did the ball hit the bumper?
So we had a great weekend of fights. Saturday night was great. UFC Fight Night 187. This is where things are going to get heated. I get into work today, and Broadwell's like, it was a great card. I was like, it was a shit card. You had 2 no contests. You said great. Did you not say great?
It was, for me, because I was expecting it to be total dog shit. It was better than I expected.
On paper,
I was happy with it.
On paper, it doesn't look bad. You've got 50K Danny Inge. You've got Angela Hill. You've got we got Kelvin Gastelum Jr. on here. It looked like it was going to be a great card, I thought. And then you get 2 no contests, and it ruined the whole momentum of the card for me. I was so upset. Let's start with the heat. Leon Edwards, Belal Muhammad. Belal Muhammad going against the number 3rd ranked fighter. He's ranked number 13. I'm like, this is my man's time to shine. Belal Muhammad always has a soft spot in my heart because when the triplets were born, I was watching him fight, and ever since then, I followed his career. It means nothing to you, the audience. It means a lot to me. The man is durable. He's dirty. He gets in there, and he'll swing and bang, and I'll be honest with you, the first round, I was like, this is going to be a rough night for Muhammad. And then Leon Edwards gets his John Jones ways and just starts eye-poking the shit out of him. Pokes him the first time, and it's like, okay, that was an accident. The second time, and Stick, if you want to pull up the picture, I was like, what the hell are we doing, man?
Yeah, I hate eye pokes. To me, they're like one of the scariest things.
Look at that.
In the UFC.
Literally raked his eyeball out. And, you know, when you see something like what happened to Mike Bisping, and Bisping has changed his story so many times. First, it was Vitor Belfort that did it. Then it was another fight. Then it was this and that. Regardless, Bisping lost an eye. He has like a prosthetic eye. You look at Belal Muhammad right there. I mean, that's like hooking someone's eyeball.
Yeah.
And obviously the fight was ruled a no contest.
Bisping's retina was completely detached.
So, anyone who says, oh, I could get in the octagon and fight, for one, no, you probably couldn't. For 2, I hope you got some balls because you look at Bisping's eye and you see something like that happen into Belal Muhammad, who's he's one of my favorites. The man just gets in and throws. He could last 3 rounds. This was his first 5-round fight. It was going to be a big test for him. In the first round, you could see the holes in his game. But when you look at it, someone brought this up on Twitter, and I was like, you know what? They got a great point. When you look at Dustin and Connor Connor won that first round. He was piecing him up. That could have been a similar story for Edwards and Muhammad, but we'll never know.
You don't count out Belal Muhammad ever.
No,
You know,
no.
mean, he can throw a submission on somebody at any point in a fight. He hadn't been in a 5-round fight. That's why I was picking against him. That was the first 5-round fight of his career. He didn't make it 5 rounds, so he really still hasn't had one. But I'm not defending Leon Edwards or any of these guys that make like inadvertent it was inadvertent. But
the first time it was. The second time, and I'm not saying he did it on purpose, but come on, man, take a point. Like at that point, the fight's over. And what bothered me so much was the Twitter comments. I got to stay off of social media when I'm watching the fights. These fucking keyboard warriors are like, oh, he's faking it. He's faking it.
He was not faking.
A grown man screaming in agony.
Yeah.
There's another
And he's a
picture
tough
stick
guy.
if you want to pull it up. The dude was crying blood. And I mean, look at this. My heart is shattered. My first main event ended. The God's the best of planners. I'm sorry to my fans in the UFC. The vision is coming back. No permanent damage to my eye. I'll be back.
Great to hear.
Here's the thing. Look at that. The man's crying blood.
But here's a couple things. Whenever you see fighters training, hitting mitts and things like that, what are they wearing?
Exactly.
Boxing gloves.
Exactly.
Right? So they're training in boxing gloves, and they're doing most of their sparring in boxing gloves as well. Then they get in the ring. I mean, even when I trained, we did what was called kickboxing with takedowns. And so you wore your boxing gloves in the octagon. If you got a takedown, the coaches stood you back up and you started over. And you learned how to do double legs and things with boxing gloves on. Now the boxing gloves come off when you go and you have a real fight, and it's natural to keep your hands open, especially when the gloves aren't contouring like a boxing glove would. So I'm not making excuses for Leon Edwards. He's a professional, but this is how these guys train.
He's a professional baby, though, man. I mean, he comes back after like a year and a half of not fighting. He fights Bilal Muhammad. I'm not going to say he dominated him in the first round. There was a good 30 seconds where Muhammad looked really good. Yeah. But he does that. The fight ends in the second round because he literally like scooped his eyeball out or attempted to, which I'm not going to say it was a dirty move. It was an accident. Gets in the press conference and says, I want a title fight. Who the fuck do you think you haven't fought in a year and a half and you just
had a
cheated.
real win.
Right.
So.
And you cheated your way into a no contest. Now I will debate you on that. RDA, that was a legit win for Leon Edwards. Mm-hmm. Give the man his run back. Like, come on. The guy he went 10 rankings up.
He hasn't had a win in more than a year, though.
Right. He hadn't, but you know what? He's got victories over notable fighters. I'm not going to say that he doesn't. My thing is this, though. There's unfinished business. And Bilal Muhammad responded today and called out Leon Edwards and said, never saw someone act so tough after poking someone in the eye. The fight was just getting going. If you're satisfied to end it on that note, you're soft. You ain't getting a title fight off of that. I took the fight on 3 weeks' notice and came to fight to run it back. That's what I'm talking about. Like, that's the stuff that gets me heated up.
I hope he would say that. I mean, that's what Bilal Muhammad should say. Leon Edwards, you got to admit, he looked much faster than Bilal.
But we don't know the ending of the fight, Mike. We don't know what would have happened. We've seen it before. Derek Lewis and Volkov, the same thing happened. 14 minutes and 50 seconds of domination, and Derek Lewis comes back. I'm sorry, that was fourth round, so 20 plus minutes, To me, it's unfinished business. Now, Muhammad is playing the part of, I'm going to try and get some drama started, and as you should. I don't
care who Leon Edwards fights next as long as it's not a title fight.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You look at the welterweight rankings. There's too many fighters that are more deserving, that have been more active. You've got Darren Till coming up, who's got his fight with Vettori. Very excited to see how that plays out. Mm-hmm. Leon Edwards, to me, is the definition of a crybaby bitch. I'm just going to be honest. Could I ever get in the octagon and do what Leon does? No. But from an armchair analysis, I will say this. The man bitched and complained that, I can't get a fight. I can't get a fight. You could have gotten a fight multiple times, and you didn't do it. The Hamzat thing, I'm sorry that happened to you. That sucks. That would have been a more entertaining fight than Bilal Muhammad. I could put my pride aside and admit that. Run the fight back with Muhammad.
And there's no way he should be ranked ahead of Masvidal or Stephen Thompson, in my opinion.
You haven't been active.
Right.
What are we doing here?
Those two guys for sure. Then you can make arguments the rest of the way down, Chiesa, Tyron Woodley, but definitely Masvidal and Stephen Thompson. I would love to see him fight either one of those two.
Here's the thing, too. Muhammad took the fight on 3 weeks' notice because nobody else would. Nobody else would. He admitted that. He was like, I took it. You know, you've got people ahead of me, Wonderboy Thompson, Chiesa. Chiesa said that he never got offered the fight. I would have loved to have watched Leon Edwards and Chiesa. Would have loved to watch Leon Edwards versus Thompson. I feel like Thompson with that karate stance might have been able to take Leon out. Maybe, okay? That's a big maybe. But Muhammad went from rank number 13 to fight the number 3 guy. You run that fucking fight back. Like, put it on a pay-per-view so these guys can get some pay-per-view points if it's in their contract. Like, the fight ended prematurely. We could predict and, kind of play, get the crystal ball like they do on Sean and Baligian and Bell and look at it and see what would have. We don't know what would have happened. With this fight needs to be ran back.
I don't think that fight needs to be ran back.
What?
I'd rather see him fight somebody higher
No,
ranked. Yes.
you're insane. This is the
Why
stuff
do I
that
wanna watch
pisses
that
me
again?
off. No, because that's something that Dana White would say. Dana White would be like, "Oh well, Leon looked good in the first round."
Just because it ended with an eye poke doesn't mean it needs to be rerun. I mean,
it's unfinished business, man. And Leon hasn't been active in a year and a half. So what? You're gonna give him? Gilbert Burns? You're gonna move him up to a ranking? You know what? Hey, let's do this, Mike. No, Mike. Let's do this. Let's just give him a title shot because he was in the octagon for 6
I
minutes.
Said no title shot. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Insane. You're insane.
I'm drunk.
Bilal Muhammad. Yeah, you're drunk. Bilal Muhammad did not lose that fight. He didn't lose it.
He didn't.
We don't know what would have happened.
It's insignificant.
You are insane to think that. I'm spitting. I'm so angry right now. Bilal Muhammad has proved he's got a fight streak. He just beat Lima very decisively. Sure, the first round wasn't the best. The man took the fight on 3 weeks' notice against the number 3rd ranked fighter and held his own for a round and a half until he got eye poked. And you're telling me
he was barely holding his own. He was.
Did he get wobbled?
Yes, he got wobbled. He was wobbled.
You call that a wobble?
You could watch his legs.
Muhammad has been wobbled in fights before and pulled off the victory.
Sure, anything can happen.
There's certain fighters.
He was hurt.
It reminds me of Glover Teixeira. Glover Teixeira has been wobbled, stunned, dropped, and he comes back. Bilal Muhammad is similar in the sense that he can get hit hard and come back. And the fact that Leon Edwards has been inactive for so long and you're trying to justify the point that, we should just move on from this.
I don't love Leon Edwards, but yeah.
You clearly do.
No,
you
I
clearly
don't.
do.
I want nothing to do with Leon Edwards.
So what do you got against Muhammad?
I got nothing against Muhammad.
Then why can't they run it back? Why can't they run it back?
They don't need to.
Okay, so
what does that do for either one of them?
It proves if Muhammad can hang out with a top 3 contender in that division, it proves if Leon Edwards has the cardio for 5 rounds after being out for a year and having COVID.
Give Muhammad Gilbert Burns then.
I'd watch that fight.
Okay.
But, I mean, that's not going to happen. He didn't beat the number 3 ranked. They're not going to give him the number 2 ranked. They're going to give him those guys. You know what's going to happen if this
Woodley.
Woodley's already going up against Vicente Luque, which Vicente Luque is going to destroy Woodley.
Yeah, Woodley's over.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
But that would be good for Muhammad to get a fight like that.
This division is completely stacked, and the UFC has done a great job at it, and I get it. There's plenty of other fights for Bilal Muhammad and Leon Edwards. I understand that. But to me, I cannot sit as a fan of either fighter if neither of them take this opportunity to see who would win.
So here's one thing, though, that you forget. The champ does get to call who he's going to fight. For the most part, the champ has say.
Okay.
So he could pick Leon Edwards and stick us with that fight.
No. Are you talking about Usman?
Yeah.
Usman's going to fight either Jorge or he's going to fight Colby.
Well,
he's not going to fight Leon Edwards. And if he does, he's a pussy. I'm just going to say it. Like, come on, dude. You've got 2 people ahead of him, and you got Gilbert Burns, which Gilbert Burns doesn't deserve the rematch, okay? I get that. But you've got Colby, which that was arguably one of the greatest welterweight fights in UFC history. You've got Jorge, who took the fight on short notice and still gave you a war.
He went the distance.
And he went the distance. You go with those guys. There's no way that Leon Edwards should jump the gun off of a no contest. It's a no contest. That's what's crazy to me is that we're even having this discussion.
Oh, you're having it.
I'm having it because I'm trying to defend Muhammad. Like, come on, man. The guy took the fight on 3 weeks' notice and did the fucking UFC a favor. He did the UFC a favor. I don't believe that Chiesa didn't get the opportunity. I don't believe that Wonderboy Thompson, because they go top to bottom. You're going to tell me they went, you know what? All these fighters now, let's go to number 13 ranked Bilal Muhammad. Bullshit. They went through the rankings. Everyone turned it down except for the badass that Bilal Muhammad is. Run it back. Make it a 3-round fight. It doesn't need to be 5 rounds.
I've always believed these top-ranked guys, the UFC tries to give them fights that they can win on purpose to keep them relevant and keep them at the top.
Yeah.
And the UFC, I think, believed Leon Edwards would handle Bilal Muhammad.
I do too.
And put him back in the conversation, which is what they wanted. They didn't quite get what they wanted. It didn't happen the way they wanted it to, but they don't need to see it again. There was enough evidence there.
This is making me so mad. Like I'm genuinely mad at you for not having the same opinion as me. And I know that's shitty, okay? But here's the thing. Bilal Muhammad has clawed his way up in the division. He doesn't put on boring fights. Name a fucking boring Bilal Muhammad fight. You've got Leon Edwards, who sat on his ass for a year and a half because magically COVID is so bad in the UK, even though he already had it, that it's so bad I can't find anywhere to train. I can't find anyone that wants to fight me.
Right,
the UFC offered to help him to get him, and he still went, "Oh, I can't do it. I'm gonna shit my
really
pants
good at
instead."
making these bad points.
Hey, I found a picture of Art right now.
Yeah.
Okay. You do your talent job and let me do my job. The hell is going on? It's attack art day
blood
today.
out there? What's
Muhammad
going
or
on?
crying Jordan.
Muhammad is a crying Jordan. Yeah. I don't like you right now at all. I don't like you right now at all. That man did. I felt so bad when he got hit and he dropped to the ground and started
Are we going to
screaming.
talk about any other fights or just this one for an hour?
This was the most important one. Anyway, let's talk about Superman Spann beating an unknown fucking heavyweight. Let's talk about that. You want to talk about that?
No.
All right, let's move on. 50K Dan Ige defeats Gavin Tucker and dominated Gavin Tucker.
That was crazy.
Hey, hey, God, time out. Can you take the lower third down and just put a picture up of Ryan Superman Spann? He's the black guy with the Superman thing, so we could pay homage that he knocked somebody out in the first round, and then we'll move on because it's just proof again that division is so stacked with talent that it's like, you know, that fight was a good fight. It was pretty predictable of what was going to happen. I mean, honestly, the other opponent I hadn't even heard of, really, to be honest. Like, he's had a couple of fights here and there. Regardless, let's move on. Dan Ige, Gavin Tucker. Ige wins by 22nd knockout. Proof that he's not only boom dynamite, but the man 50K pay the man, and they did. Good for him.
And Tucker he's a badass, Canadian brawler that you think, like, I've never seen Gavin Tucker go down like that.
No,
so that was
impressive. It just proves yet again that there's levels to this. There's just it's insane. And
I still don't get how IGE spells Ige.
I don't either, but you know what? I heard it pronounced 3 different times during our Friday fight prediction, so I had to make sure that I pronounced it right. I figure if I'm the host of the show, I should at least know what the hell I'm talking about. But yeah, Danny Ige is just a human specimen. Like, he really is. Like, when you look at not only, his punching power, but his durability, the man can run some rounds and he can knock your lights out at any given moment. And I was pleasantly surprised with the outcome of that
was
fight.
Great. He landed, so.
Yeah. The next one. The next one,
not a boring fight, but a quick fight.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say that you said that the card was great. I said it was shit. That was one of the fights where I'm like, that was good.
It was good.
It was good. Yeah. If I had to rank the fight, I would give it a C-. It wasn't a failure of a card, but it was kind of in between. Davey Grant, Jonathan Martinez, what a war. Jonathan Martinez looked like he was getting his shit going in the first round. Davey Grant came through and said, "No, sir, this is my octagon," and really put on a performance. I mean, that KO in the second round, beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful.
That was like a surprise knockout.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. It was something
fun fight.
Yeah. And Jonathan Martinez has a good record.
If you reordered this card, you might think of it differently. If that last fight wasn't that last fight and this was the last fight, you've probably been like, okay, that was a good night.
Yeah. No, I mean, it needed to happen compared to, the rest of the card, which was pretty underwhelming. Davey Grant, I think he's got star power. He's durable. The only thing that I didn't like is in the post-fight press conference, he's like, I'm going to try and do his accent. I don't really want to, call anyone out or anything. I don't do any of the trash talk. And I'm like, bro, this is your opportunity. You just knock somebody out in the second round, call out a ranked opponent. Like, this is your shot. That's the problem that these fighters have. Like, if I could be a fight promoter, this is what I would say. Get in, knock motherfuckers out, take them down and hold them or whatever. None of that shit matters. You know what matters? The post-fight. What are you going to say in the interview? What are you going to say after your victory? I mean, look at Khabib and look at Conor. When you look at that built itself because Khabib learned English and decided to talk shit to Conor. Davey Grant, get your shit together and start calling these motherfuckers out to get big fights. fights. Like, that's what's shocking to me is it's like your agent, your manager isn't saying, hey, you knock this dude out, you call out this person, and you make it a point. Look at Black Beast. Look at Derek Lewis. Nobody cared about Derek Lewis until he said his balls were hot.
Right.
The next thing you know, everybody cared about Derek Lewis.
Now he's the knockout king, though.
What you say on this thing is more important sometimes than your actual fight. It really is. So hopefully Davey Grant will move up in the rankings or, even call out a ranked fighter. That'd be great. Next one coming up, Manuel and
Cop.
Yeah,
Cape.
yeah, Cop. That to me, I agree with the decision, but Cop kind of had a lot of momentum going into this fight. And it's like, man, if he gets a big win, that could push him into the UFC stardom. It didn't happen. He lost via split decision. Not an impressive performance from either fighter,
No,
really.
I didn't like the fight. It was one of those ones where, as far as gambling-wise on my bookie account, I lay off this one, and I did. Thank God. I mean, I wouldn't have called it either way. So
right.
It was
It was
one of
a
those, whichever side you bet on, you're happy if you got it right. If you guessed wrong, you felt ripped off.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
The last fight that we're going to cover, we'll go through some of the highlights of the prelims and everything, but definitely got to talk about Eric Anders and Darren Stewart.
Yep.
Oh, yet again, another no contest. I mean, that to me was such a blatant foul. And you just watched last week what happened between Sterling and Jan, and you do a repeat of it, man. And he was dominating that fight. Anders was, I was like, if Anders doesn't get taken down, he's got this fight. He wasn't getting taken down.
All he had to do was throw an uppercut and knock him out, or kind of pick him up off the fence, or
and
let him up. There were so many options he had, and he throws that knee.
Yeah, and you could see, Stick, if you want to move the lower third, you could see Darren Stewart's whole entire fist, his whole fist is on the canvas. Not a pinky, not a finger, nothing. His whole fist. And he's got his knee down. That is the definition of a downed opponent. Now, Broadwell.
Some other, it's 3 points.
Right.
In some other areas of
Broadwell
the world.
had brought this up too. He's like, man, it's so hard sometimes because all these different commissions, you've got Nevada, New York, you've got Brazil, you've got all these places where it's all different rules. One's 3 points, one's a full hand, one's a pinky nail. Like, it doesn't matter. And when you look at Anders, going into that fight, he was stacked.
Yeah,
that dude was huge. And I'm like,
he should have either tried to throw uppercuts or elbow or anything except that knee.
Anything. Because he would have.
He was dominating the fight. I mean, he had him knocked down.
If he wouldn't have finished it in the first round, there was still some time left. He would have gotten in the second round. Stick, listen, Joey Cabell ain't around, buddy. You don't have to raise your hand. What's up, buddy?
No, because you guys are obviously bigger MMA guys than I. I'm a casual MMA fan. But how the fuck is that guy supposed to know that his left hand is on the ground there? There is no possible way when you're in that striking position
and you're standing
you're beating the hell out of them from the right side that you're going to see this guy dropped his left shoulder. His hand could clearly not be on the ground at that. How do you know?
That's why I hate the rule. I think it's ridiculous, especially his other hand was up to block the shot. So that's why there was, at least at one point was up and his foot was up. So there's 2 points up. So
here's the thing,
that third point, he's just kind of resting on his knuckles, and I don't know. I hate the rule, and I looked at my Twitter.
I've seen fighters use it as a technique to not get hit.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. They'll use it to stall.
It's like a defense mechanism. Here's a quick way. If I'm getting my ass kicked, I kind of hide that I'm 3 points down.
Yeah,
and I get kneed in the face, and all of a sudden this guy that's beating my ass loses the fight. They gotta fix this rule.
Well, and there's here's the thing though. They tell, to play devil's advocate, they say in the backstage before the fights, here are the rules. Okay. Now, fouls don't actually happen as much as you think they would in MMA. A lot of eye pokes, a lot of hits to the balls, but stuff like that, like the 6 to 12 elbows, the hitting in the back of the head, the kneeing a downed opponent, it doesn't happen that often.
This is 2 weeks in a row, though, right?
It's 2 weeks in a row, that's why it's such a big deal. It happened during Jan and Sterling, and then Anders and Stewart.
Here, at least, Herb Dean did the right thing. He didn't disqualify him for it.
Yeah, but to me, that's a disqualification, man. That is
it's not because it's not a loss.
It's a disqualification. No,
so you can kick someone in the nuts, right, and just get a warning. You can kick him in the nuts again.
There's a big difference between getting hit in the nuts and getting blasted with a knee to your skull.
Have you been kicked in the nuts?
Yes, and after 5 minutes, you're good.
I will take a knee to the skull over anything to the nuts 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah. No, you guys are...
Especially twice. You can kick
it's
someone
everybody
in the nuts
go
twice.
against Art Day. You would rather take a kick to the balls.
Would you rather take
a
one
knee to the skull?
Stick. Would you rather take one knee to the head or 2 kicks to the balls?
I spend 90% of my day protecting my balls. So thank you. I don't care about my head.
So you can get kicked in the balls twice and just get warnings without even a point being taken away.
Okay, let's be honest. Like, come on, Broadwell, I know what you're doing, right? Let's be logical. You're getting
Impossible with
knee
you.
in the temple
Yeah.
to where it could potentially knock you
He
out.
also had his hand up and he blocked. If you see how his arm is
Yeah,
up?
yeah, and I get that. It's still disqualification.
It's not a
pulled an
disqualification.
illegal.
It's the same as any other illegal blow. If somebody
So he
throws
should have
it-
gotten a warning, and they should have just went back to it.
if he wasn't that damaged, it should have just been a warning. Yeah.
I'm good with that. Similar to like
can
boxing. Similar to boxing. There's you maybe they take a point away or they make it
Do you
more severe.
understand the
in
serious difference between a hit to the balls and a hit to the back of the head, or the hit to your temple with someone's knee?
Yeah.
That is so different. You could get knocked out here. You could get knocked out here. You can't get knocked out getting hit in the nuts. Stop being a pussy.
But
Get
you
up
can-
and fight.
You can be damaged to the point that you can't continue.
Oh
from
yeah,
being
your
hit in the
balls
nuts.
could go up into your stomach.
Yeah.
You could hemorrhage a
So-
ball sack. I get that. But let's all agree here that moving forward, you get kneed in the head, you get hit in the back of the head, you get 12 to 6 elbows. You should have a 5-minute time period to figure out what's going on.
They
and
do
make
have
it-
a 5-minute time period.
Not in the Jan and Sterling one. They called it because
Well-
homeboy was.
Well, yeah, because he was
Because he put on the fucking show of a century.
Right.
Like, this whole podcast should be
So-
about new rule sets, new gloves, like, not being able to do oblique kicks.
You realize Sterling wasn't even concussed.
No, because he
So-
did the post-fight press conference
That's
and
what
went,
I'm
"Hey, I got the belt." Like,
Yeah.
no, this podcast should be labeled "New Rules the UFC Need to Make Happen." You watched a whole entire fight card get destroyed because you had somebody who couldn't stop clawing somebody's other eye sockets out. You had another fight where the fighter was kneeing a downed opponent. You need a new glove system. You need a better warning system because there's a difference in eye pokes and ball hits. Like, I could go like this and barely tap your nuts, and I could pull a LeBron and or you could have your balls coming out of your throat because you got hit so hard. There needs to be new rules that are followed not only in Las Vegas, the home of fighting, but Abu Dhabi, New York, everywhere else, because it's just, this is the shit that gets me heated, because it's like Jan and Sterling, that to me, I didn't get kneed in the face. I don't know how bad it hurt, but when you do the post,
It probably hurts just about as bad as an elbow to the face.
I don't.
Or a spinning back fist, or a...
If I grab my knee right now and I show
Yeah.
it to you and I show you my elbow, there's a difference in
I
size.
bet I could hit you just as hard with my elbow as I could with my knee.
You are insane.
Let's go try it. I am not insane.
If someone was to tell me
I could definitely give you an elbow that
that would be
would
worse
be
than a
just as-
knee,
yeah, just as bad.
stick, comment, his knees are the size of freaking basketballs.
No, I'm assuming you can generate just as much force with your legs as you can your arms.
Yep.
Look at this or this coming right up. If someone gave me an opportunity and said, "Hey, you can knock me out in whatever fashion you want, but you can only use your knee or your elbow," I'm picking my knee. You've got so much more
It's
force coming
6
back.
to 1, half a dozen. The
Elbow,
others.
you've got this much trajectory.
The
That's
elbow's
it.
the hardest bone in the body, Art. And
My
no,
dick is the hardest bone in the body, but you don't see me swinging that, hitting people with it. This is the
I'm not
worst.
getting in range of that.
This
first of
is
all.
the
There's
worst.
No way, there's
This
no way
is
I'd
the
ever be
worst
in
Art of
range of getting
Combat
hit by
podcast
that.
we've had, Broadwell, because you've got bad takes.
So there was this tweet.
Let's get some people. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, 1,000 apologies to Darren MMA. I know he wanted to keep going amid a critical error in the heat of the moment, and it cost us and the fans a barn burner. You know what?
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Anders. You admitted your fault. You would have won that fight regardless.
He would
I
have.
mean, end of the first round, I was like, whoo, Darren Stewart better pray for a takedown, and he wasn't getting it. The difference is like with Jan and Sterling was winning the fight, or Jan was winning the fight, sorry, and it ended the possibility of Jan retaining the title. And similar to Anders, it sucks. It's like they need to create a Bible of these are the MMA rules, and we follow them no matter where we go. Imagine being so
Nevada
confused.
is the only state you can't throw in the towel. Your corner cannot throw in the towel in Nevada, but you can everywhere else. It's just like a weird rule.
When Anthony Smith teeth was falling out and he said, "Put me in, coach." No, like, dude, but at that point, is your fighter concussed? Is he making the right decisions as his own man, or do you rely on the coach? But when you don't even have that option, that's scary. That's scary. Like, you're watching your fighter go to death. Literally, like people don't understand.
Yeah, your coach could call it, could say, between rounds, stop it.
Right.
But physically throwing a towel into the octagon does not stop a fight in Nevada.
Let's move on. Obviously, we will agree to disagree, and I will say every single episode that Broadwell is drunk. That's my only claim that I have.
I could be drunk, but elbows are still pretty damn hard.
Hey, well, if you're going to drink, you better do it right and drink some proper 12. Hey-o. Speaking of which, we got this dartboard. It's a pretty awesome dartboard. How can you win it? We're going to give you details on Friday. I'm not going to give it. Yeah.
Is that a tease?
That's a tease. You show it. It's like when you go to the strip club and they say, hey, VIP room, and then you find out it's $200. It's going to be free. We're not going to charge you $200. But you got to come to the VIP room on Friday when we do our betting show. We'll give you all the details on how you can win this. Big shout out to Ann for Proper 12. She's the best.
Yes.
All right, moving on. We're going to talk about real quick UFC on ESPN 21. It's crazy to think that they've had 21 ESPN cards. It's an amazing thing. This one, it's a big one. If you want to pull the picture up of Brunson and Kevin Holland, two boys that hate each other, this is a big fight for both fighters because Brunson's either going to skyrocket down to a lower ranking and Kevin Holland's going to move up. I mean, this is a fight that I'm really excited about, man. Really excited about. And it's on ESPN.
Do you think it'll end with a knee or an eye poke?
Brunson... He's had no contest before, hasn't he? I'm almost positive that he's had either like a draw or a disqualification. I could see Brunson being more the dirty fighter than Holland. But Holland is on a run, 21-5 going up against 21-7. Pretty similar records. And I'm excited, man. I mean, you've got 11 KOs for Kevin Holland, trailblazing to the top. That man has star written all over him. The UFC desperately needs some stars. Let's be honest. You've got John Jones in the shadows. You've got Amanda Nunes that they always talk about. We know she's going to win. You need someone like this to really come in and put the division on fire, and Kevin Holland's the man to do it.
Yep. I'm excited for it. I think Kevin Holland can do it. I hope he does. I think he will.
And the middleweight division, too, I mean, when you look at the rankings for the middleweight division, you got Izzy as champ. Kevin Holland's been chirping that he wants that belt. He wants that shot at Izzy. I don't think a win over Derek Brunson is going to do it.
No.
But, I mean, Robert Whittaker, Costa, Cannonier, Till, Vittori, Hermanson, Brunson. I mean,
there's so many good fights to make in that division that let's just let it happen.
Yeah.
Let's watch.
Kevin Holland's ranked number 10. Derek Brunson's ranked number 7. A win for Kevin Holland could get him a fighter in the top 5. Derek Brunson, I think, a win for him, he could get possibly Jack Hermanson next or Vittori, depending on how that goes. The rest of the card looks stacked, too. I mean, you got Gregor Gillespie returning after getting knocked out by Kevin Lee against Brad Riddle. You got Shuey, the Shuey man, Tai Tavase. Coming in. I can't wait for that fight. Max Griffin on the card. Trevin Giles. There's so many good fights on this card. We're going to be doing a betting podcast on Friday, letting you know what fights to pick, what fights not to pick. Yeah, and giving you more details on how you can win this awesome Proper 12 dartboard. Stick around for that. Big shout out to Serenity CBD. Big shout out to Matt. If you use the promo code WSN15, get 15% off your order. I've been lately, I've been stressed like crazy. So I've been taking the CBD's capsules, one in the morning, one at night. It has drastically helped me. I can tell a big difference. I did like a little experiment of not taking them for a day or two. I'm on them. And they're not addictive. It's just, it helps so much. It's like a nice warm pillow to hug.
They smell good too.
Huh?
The smell of the you're talking about the capsules?
Yeah, the capsules, yeah.
I like the
roll-on I use every night on my temples and just puts me in a trance. I love it. So make sure that you visit Serenity CBD's website. Use the promo code WSN15 for 15% off of your order. Broadwell, regardless of if I agree with you or disagree with you.
You're really good at defending bad takes, which I appreciate. So.
Well, that's good. Hey, that's the best compliment you've given me. I'm really good at defending bad takes. At least I defend them, I
Mostly
could say,
with volume, not with logic, but that's okay.
Well, hey, at least it's something. My wife says the same thing. So thank you for watching another episode of the Art of Combat Podcast. We'll be back on Friday with your betting podcast episode. Make sure you follow at Art of Combat Pod. Thank you to Fish. Thank you to Stick. We're out.